Alright folks, welcome back to another Poem Master video. Now that we have most of the info on the next update that, in terms of the data down of the batch of characters that we're getting, let's go over them and, as usual, just rank them in terms of, again, just my opinion, right? Which ones I think are probably better and which ones maybe not so much, right? So this month we have a really interesting cast of characters, honestly, right, in terms of, power and all that stuff. And some of these are kind of tricky, because of, like, the different roles that they play. I mean, that's kind of usually the case. But yeah, we'll go over them, and I think these do get a bit more trickier and trickier as time goes by, as we get more of the same type of strikers, for example, or more same supports to do similar things, right? So anyways, regardless, let's talk about it. So anyways, before we get into that, it would be really cool if you guys subscribe, if you want more, content, and also so it could beat the Pokemon Masters official YouTube account's sub count before the year ends. That would be kind of cool. I kind of doubt it'll happen, but it'll be cool. So anyways, let's get into this. So starting off from the top, in my opinion, like the clear cut, and this is not even close, the best one is May, right? May is incredible. May, not only does she have Rain with NPR on Rain, right? That's like the least of like her powerfulness, right? She also has AoE accuracy down, which again, least of her powerfulness. Relatively tanky, also least of, her power, right? She is an incredible damage healer. She's probably one of the most, like, complete damage dealer in the whole game, in my opinion, right? Super easy to set up, hits incredibly hard, right? And hits, and a lot of strikers usually, they either hit really hard on their normal moves, or, some, strikers hit really hard on their, not strikers, damage dealers hit hard on their normal moves. Some damage dealers hit hard on their sync moves. May does both. May hits incredibly hard on her normal moves and hits incredibly hard on her sync move, right? A lot of people know, how powerful berries or Charizards or Elisa, whoever's their sync move is. We know how powerful those are. May's, EX Maze is even more powerful than all of those. It does more damage than all of those, which is insane, right? And the other, like, really, really crazy thing about May is, like, all her damage stuff, right? Like, her damage stuff basically comes at 1 out of 5. Like, you don't have any, like, almost nothing on Syncret that really helps with her damage. All of her damage just comes from, like, straight up just May being May, right? From her passives and all that stuff. And that is, again, pretty insane. Obviously, I don't really factor that into this, but that's also a really fun fact about May. She's the highest damaging AoE, dealer in the whole game, right? Even more so than Cynthia. And also, she also has ground coverage, which doesn't do as much as Cynthia, the ground type move. Like, Cynthia is obviously, ground type wise, Cynthia is better. But, like, if you're talking about AoE, right, Muddy Water is just it's so incredibly powerful, right? And yeah, May is kind of insane, and probably the best or the strongest unit that we've gotten in the game ever since, like, Serena, which was 8-9 months ago. I can't remember when we got Serena. It's been a while, but, like, May is incredibly powerful, and honestly slightly overpowered. I don't even know if, like, DNA knows how overpowered they made May, but yeah, May is easily by far, right? She's, like, the best unit that we've had in, like, the last half of a year, right, or whatever. So moving on, we got the second one, I'd say N. And I think people are kind of sleeping on it. I know a lot of people are, a lot of people compare N to, like, Elisa, and they're like, is he really that much better? The answer is, he is better than Elisa. Obviously, there are things that, Elisa does better than N. Elisa's much faster, right? And it's much slower, but, hopefully it doesn't really become too much of an issue because, of N, the passives that N's have, that N has, right? And also the 2 move gauge refreshers on Bolt Strike. And plus the +4 for speed on train move. Hopefully that helps. And if it does actually make that N's, like, speed isn't an issue at all, right? I do think N is, much better. with a realistic build, right? Talking about realistic builds, what you probably want to do. Even though on a realistic build, Elisa still does more on her sync move damage, right? But like if you compare like wild charge, and it's not like wild charge hits like light or whatever, right? Wild charge hits very very hard, right? It is a recoil move. You know, moves that have like negative effects usually hit much harder. But Zekrom's Ball Strike just straight up hits more, right? It's a 4 gauge move, and yeah, it's really really hard. And again, Elisa's, again, a lot of people comparing him with Ray Elisa. Ray Elisa is still very, very powerful, obviously. But that doesn't make N bad, in my opinion, right? He's still really, really good. Still hits super hard, all that stuff. Electro Train with Volkner, if you get Volkner. It's also like paralyzed, get extra 30% of static shock, right? It's a solid unit. It's a really solid unit. And also, the train move, you get an extra 50% on your like first sync move. As well. So, well, your first sync move is probably going to hit more than Elisa's first sync move, right? If you crit. Elisa does have guaranteed crit, though. But, yeah, I do think people are slightly underrating N a bit. Again, I'm not saying he's, like, the best thing in the world, right? He's not, but he's also pretty decent, right? So, moving on. Next, I would say Lillie, honestly, right? I do think people, like... from what I've seen online, obviously, from what I've not obviously, from what I've seen online, it seems that people's opinions on Lillie is like extremely split. Either people think she's like incredible, or people think she's like completely like trash, right? And I think it's somewhere in between. I don't think she's like an extremely like I don't think she's like sitting to blue levels in terms of support, but I don't think she's bad either, right? I do think Lillie is better than all the other 2 supports that we have on this list, and for good reason, right? Lillie B. I guess is that a good nickname for it, Lillie B? Ribbon B. So Ribbon B does have some really really good things. Obviously, Dire Hit All Plus is always a plus to have, right? If extremely good and useful, great move, all that stuff. Leech Life with Master Healer, right? And Leech Life is 3 gauge move, which, by the way, Leech Life does do more damage than Comfy's Draining Kiss, and y'all know how powerful Comfy's Draining Kiss is, right? If you guys haven't seen, like, I posted on Twitter, like, a Champion Stadium Run, 2v3, only 2 units on my team, Sabrina and Erica, right? I had those 2 on my team, and Erica's Draining Kiss did like 3,000 damage to an opponent, super effective, right? With HP advantage 5, and I healed 600 damage from that one Draining Kiss, right? And then again, Ribbon doesn't do that much more. It's like just slightly more than like Coffee, but even if they like do like exactly the same damage, that's still incredibly powerful. And again, she does have good defenses. Her HP is obviously not as great as what you'd like, right? But it's also not bad either. I mean, it's almost 550. So yeah, Ribbon just on like its base kit is already really really good. I got Team Sync regen, which is fantastic, right? Especially with units that you don't really want, or strikers, I mean, that you don't really care to like sync or whatever. Like you basically get like infinite regen for your whole team, which is crazy. So on top of that, you do have a lot of like dodge stuff. You also give your whole team dodge, which outside of Starmie, no one else in the game actually gives, and that is really important for units that do need to increase their invasion to like power up their moves, like Blind Spot or whatever, right? Like Koga or Typhlosion has, because again, this is pretty rare, right? It's a really rare buff, so it's it's always important when a unit comes out with a rare buff, right? And blocking status conditions is okay, I guess. Not a huge deal in my opinion. Move gauge boost is whatever. I mean, it's nice in a pinch, but you generally don't really want to go for that. Cucur, small chance of reducing move counter. This is whatever, honestly. This has a 20% chance of raising the attack while I think this also, I don't think this is a huge deal, but it's nice, I guess, to have. And she has some, great stuff on her Synchro as well. Ridicule, a lot of, based on evasion stuff. So if you run Ribbon Bee with, like, Clement to decrease the opponent's accuracy, that's gonna make her really, really good if you get like all the evasion stuff, right? Because like even if you don't like proc 1 on those, or proc all 3, you at least like proc 1 usually on average, right? Again, massive heal on leech life, 2 leech life, move gauge, refresh 3s. These are all fantastic stuff, right? So yeah, I do think she's definitely really, really nice. Moving on, I'd say the next best on this list would probably be Lance, right? And like honestly, in my opinion, like Lance is, I know, I get it, like he looks boring, and I agree, he looks really, really boring. The kid, right? He's basically almost like copy paste regular Lance. If you change Gyarados out for like another Dragonite, since like Lance has like 3 Dragonites, if you took out like Gyarados for like another Dragonite and then like change Bounce into like Fly, like no one would notice, honestly. It's just another, like it's really lame, in my opinion, for the most part. But you can't say it's bad, because it's not. It might be, not as great as some of the other strikers in the game, right? But it's not like objectively bad, because objectively this thing does a lot of damage. Any unit with Hyper Beam is going to do a lot of damage, right? And it still has potion, although it doesn't have any potion nodes, if I remember correctly, right? Which kind of sucks. But I do think it does have okay, regular Lance's grid is more like defensive, right? This Lance's grid is more offensive. It does have more offensive nodes, which is definitely nice, right? So you got like Hyper Beam, Paralysis Energy 1, which a lot of people have been joking, oh, ha ha ha, it's Paralysis Energy 1, but like 10% off a Hyper Beam is a lot, right? You got 2 move gauge refreshers for Hyper Beam, which is always nice. Shower power, more sync move damage if it's, rainy, all that stuff, right? Got Racing Rain 3, Raging Rain 2, extra 20% damage and rain. So like even though like your physical stat is not as good as like your regular Lance. Where is it? Right? Even though your attack stat is not as good, you could be dealing, potentially better. I haven't done the math on that. You know what? Let me let me just quickly do the math on that. What's the stat? 338. All right, so if you pick up like both Paralysis Energy, if you get like both Paralysis Energy and Raging Rain 2, you do more damage than your regular Lance, right? But yeah, overall it's good. I mean, it does good damage. It's boring. I personally don't really like this set. I really wish they were more creative with it. But again, you can't deny, I can't deny numbers. It's on paper, with the number, it's really good, right? Moving on. I think after that would probably be Sings to Elisa, right? Here's the thing. Sings to Elisa, her EX outfit, she got a new EX outfit, looks fantastic, by the way. I love it. However, 6R EX, Sings to Elisa really doesn't like do anything. Like, does she even have, let me see, does she even have anything on sync at all? Because I don't remember anything on sync. Prestige 5, hostile environment, third act. Yeah, she doesn't even have anything on her sync move. Like straight up her 6RX doesn't like even do much at all. But like she is a good unit to have on like it, like just for the fact that like she decreases your sync move countdown by that much, right? Maybe you basically could get like an extra few free turns to get her sync move off for this support, because regardless support EX are like incredibly like busted, right? So you shave off a few turns on that, you get the your sync move off. That's always nice to have, right? But regardless, she's still decent at base, right, with all the stuff. And special attack all is always nice to have. Breathtaking is okay, right? I do think she's an underrated tank, in my opinion, and all that stuff. So 1 gauge spam with Thunder Shock, with hostile environment, paralysis, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, she's just Ridicule, right? She's nothing special, nothing really changed, but she's just overall still a solid, solid unit, right? After that, I'd probably say Phoebe, right? Phoebe, her grid really didn't, it's not anything amazing. But she did get like some really nice stuff though. And by nice stuff, I'm mainly referring to, let's see if I could find it. The move gauge refreshers on Shadow Punch, right? The move gauge refreshers on Shadow Punch are nice. Inspire Ire, in my opinion, is good. Unless you're using it as main tank, then it's completely pointless. Team Toughen Up is nice. Like, these are nice things to have, but it just doesn't make, like, Phoebe insanely overpowered as a support. You know, now the more I think about it, like, the only thing, and by the way, I'm putting Wallace next, but like the only thing I'm like having Phoebe over Wallace, honestly, is just because it has like Dire Hit Plus, or Dire Hit All Plus, and Unbreakable Bonds, which gives you attack. But like outside of that, like Wallace is honestly like better than both of these. Like, yeah, outside of like, again, just supports being like really, really overpowered and like useful in terms of like their support abilities, right? I do think like overall Wallace is a more much more complete and powerful unit, right? You want, now that I think about it, yeah, I'm probably putting Wallace over them. I'm sorry. Wallace, and we're talking about 6REX Wallace, right? Yeah, because obviously that's what Wallace got with the new stuff, right? And 6REX Wallace is just so good. Like, the EX sync move just helps so much because, like, you know, first of all, yeah, as a tech, it does give you an extra, you know, huge boost on your sync move. On top of that, another 1.5 times is really good. And, you know, Wallace has really, really good special attack stat to, you know, begin with, right? How much is that at, like, 20 out of 20? Yeah. Really, really good attack stat to kick it off, right? And on top of that, like, on top of, like, doing just really, really good damage, right? You also want to sync with him because he also has, like, recuperation too. So not only are you doing really, really good damage on your sync move, you're also healing up. And not only that, you're a really solid tank, right? Like, look at how that HP, right? And again, your defenses are, like, solid. They're not anything crazy, but they're solid, right? But, like, you have, like, so many, you know, other stuff on your grid that helps you tank, right? You got First Aid 4, you got Healthy Healing, Sterner Stuff 2 that reduces, you know, physical damage by 20%, right? And on top of that, you just, you know, like, just really, really great Pokemon all around, right? Also the strongest move in the game, Mirror Coat. Even though no one really uses it that much. But yeah, just, you know, straight up fantastic unit. You can trap the opponent, again, do really, really good damage, all that stuff. It's really, really good. Again, especially with the 6REX, which gives you even more incentive to sync with Waltless, right? Which one of the best units to sync with in the game, with recuperation too, right? You could just tank with them, you could do really, really good damage. Yeah, now that I think about it, like 6REX Wall is probably better. And the last one is Mallow, and it's not like Mallow's bad or whatever. Mallow's really, really good. Mallow does really, really good damage, right? If you compare it to like Sceptile, like Mallow and Sceptile do like really comparable damage, honestly, right? And that's pretty that's pretty amazing. Let's see, where's Mallow again? There it is, right? Mallow does like comparable damage to Sceptile when set up, right? Sceptile does have more speed, which in my opinion, I do prefer, right? When I'm trying to use a damage healer, I do prefer better speed. But Serena does have, you know, really, really good defense stats, right? All that stuff. Drop kick lowers the opponent's attack. If you run Serena with Torterra, right? Dawn and Mallow, that's a really, really, really powerful combo, right? She has so many multipliers. Crit Strike 1, Solar Flare 5, Pecking Order, right? Let's see, what else? Oh, Power Posture, if you want to go for Drop Kick, which you probably don't actually now that I think about it. Charging Sun 3, and she also has Stop Hitting Herself, which is great, right? So, you know, you get a regular unit in the pool that has Stop Hitting Yourself. That's not, you know, seasonal exclusive, right? All that stuff. And yeah, AoE, Confusion, all that, which is good, which is really, really good. And on top of that, like, she has Confusion Synergy 5 as well. She has, like, regular Power Posture, right? Like, just an overall fantastic unit. She just gets, like, slightly overshined by, like, all the other fantastic units that are coming out this month. So, you know, really, really big month, right? So, again, all these are good. So, yeah. As usual, like, when I recommend something, just go for favorites, in my opinion, right? None of them are bad, right? You know, Nate's not around. I'm sorry, Nate. But yeah, anyways, that's maybe this one, I guess. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel for some more Pro Masters content. We'll be live streaming and summon tonight, so tune in for that. That should be fun, and good luck to everyone else summoning, and I'll see you guys in the next one.